Welcome to the channel. I'm the Scottish Astrologer, and in this video I am going to be talking about the Saturn return in detail, as the Saturn return is one of the most important personal astrological events which we all go through. So I will be explaining the top things to expect from a Saturn return, plus more. But before I do, if you would please be kind enough to give this video a thumbs up, I would truly appreciate it, as it really helps the channel grow and helps this information, which I truly believe is important, to reach more people. Now, are you 29 years old? If so, then you're about to have or have just had what is known as a Saturn return, which just means that the planet Saturn has returned to the exact point which it was located at the time of your birth. And this moment occurs when you are roughly 29. And to find the exact date, time and second this occurs, first you must look at your birth chart and find Saturn, whose symbol should be on screen now, for those who are not familiar with astrology. Once you've found Saturn, you then check the zodiac sign he occupies and look at the numbers above the symbol of Saturn, as this tells you the degree and the second of the zodiac sign which Saturn is in. Now the degree, the number for the degree is more bold than the seconds and has a degree sign next to it. You can then pull up a chart for when you turn 29, okay? And from there, keep bringing up charts, adding a little more time, until you find the chart that shows Saturn in the same zodiac sign, degree and second which he was in when you were born. Now this process takes a little time and patience, but you will get there in the end. And this can be done through a birth chart calculator. Again, the best way to do it is bring it up to your 29th birthday at least, so when you're 29, and just keep adding, check obviously the degree and second Saturn's in at that point, and then just keep adding a little bit time until you get to that exact point when Saturn was in when you were born. Again, takes patience, but bear with it and you will get there in the end. And then if you look at what house Saturn is in when he returns, this shows you which area of life the effects of a Saturn return will be most concentrated. Now a Saturn return affects every area of life really in some form, but the house in which he returns to, and so the area of life which he affects, will be most potent, okay, in this area. Now please check out my website where you will find the meanings of each house if you are new to astrology. Now the link's in the description box below. And on top of the house, okay, which Saturn returns to, you may be lucky or unlucky enough to have Saturn come into a conjunction or maybe a strong aspect with another planet or planets, more than one, or luminaries, or a special point on your chart like the ascendant or midheaven, etc. And once you found out this information, this will tell you what you need to know as to what to expect personally from this Saturn return in relation to the energies and qualities of the planet, planets, luminary or point in question. Now I will give you a little example of a Saturn return visually through my own natal chart and Saturn return chart, which should be on screen now. So first we have my birth chart, which as you can see has Saturn located in 25 degrees and 7 seconds of the zodiac sign Capricorn. And the next chart that you should be seeing now on screen is the chart which shows the exact moment of my own personal Saturn return, nearly 30 years in the future from the birth chart. And in fact, my Saturn return is fast approaching me, and in fact it's only actually 10 days away from me making this video. Now, as you can see, my Saturn return just happens to be conjunct Pluto, which is quite a rare and powerful conjunction, okay? And as you can see, Saturn returns in my 8th house, which is all about death and transformation, or battles, sexuality, and all things occult and secret. While again conjunct Pluto, who is in the 7th house of marriage, partnerships, associations, and contracts. I also have Mercury in the 9th house of travel, higher learning, spirituality, law, legality, and religion, making a sextile aspect to Saturn. I also have Venus conjunct with Neptune in Pisces in the 10th house of career, destiny, fame, business, social success, which is also making a sextile aspect to Saturn. And I also have the Moon conjunct Uranus in the zodiac sign of Taurus, which is in the 11th house of friends, projects, happiness and protections, making a square aspect to Saturn. So for those who know astrology, you will understand there is a lot of very potent energy coming into play for me personally on this Saturn return. And if I were to go into all of this detail, I would be here for hours explaining what all this potentially has in store for me. But as you can imagine, okay, I would rather not get into all of that. It'll take too long for one, again, be here for hours. And of course it is personal, it's personal stuff here. But again, for those who are familiar and do understand how to read astrology, then you can interpret this for yourself, okay, freely. Now, another thing about my Saturn return is the fact that it just so happens to land on the first day my country, the United Kingdom, will officially begin the transition period for leaving the European Union, as long as things don't change from now to then. But as you know, anything can happen in politics. But yeah, another interesting thing about my Saturn return is the date, the 1st of February 2020, and coincidentally will be the first day the UK pulls away from the EU officially and begins the transition period. So another interesting coincidental thing to do with my Saturn return linked with the date. So I hope that this chart showed you the type of things that may or may not come into play on a Saturn return, okay? Again, everybody's Saturn return will be different in this personal respect. Now, I will explain the top things which everyone can generally expect from their first Saturn return. But first, let me tell you what Saturn actually represents in astrology. Now, Saturn represents time, wisdom, old age, maturity, and contraction, and discipline. Which, of course, is all very directly relevant and linked with the Saturn return, which will all become obvious once I go over the top things which you can expect from a Saturn return. So the top thing to expect from this return is the realization of just how precious your time is, as you have just nearly lived 3 decades and you feel it went fast and your youth is now officially over. You feel a bit old and you feel you must use the time you have left to the fullest, okay? And you fear wasting it. Now your precious time, okay, because time is now precious to you, so your precious time does mean everything to you. You realise that your time is more valuable than anything, okay, anything at all. And so you refuse to waste it, unless it brings you joy, happiness, or gain in some form. Now, a Saturn return will also shake up your life in some big way, possibly in many different ways, in order to try and force you into maturity, okay, or to grow up a bit, depending on your current level of maturity before the Saturn return. And of course, to teach you how to be a more responsible human. And of course, some people, again, are a lot more grown up and mature pre-Saturn return than others. And it's the less mature ones at this age that get the biggest shock and shake up in their lives, as they are the ones that need Saturn's help the most, okay? No matter how harsh it may seem at the time, ultimately it's for your own good and benefit. Saturn is a great teacher, but a ruthless one at times, but he has your best interest at heart. It's like tough love, like a father showing tough love to his son for the son's betterment, okay? Just the same with astrology and Saturn on a return. Another thing which happens is you will look back on your life so far, okay? What have you done with your life? What you still want to do? You also begin to want more for your life, something better for yourself and something more meaningful. Now, no matter how far you have come or think you have came in life or have gained in life so far, both physically and of course spiritually, you will eventually want more, okay? A more solid and a more stable life where you are totally responsible for yourself and your surroundings. And this is when you really think about the future and start to realise, if you haven't already, what you truly want from life and what you want to do in life. And so your career truly becomes a major focal point for you in either advancing your career, changing your career, or maybe starting a career. Like, some people are only starting their career at this point. They realise, what have I done with my life? I've just been partying or wasting it, just messing around. They get to this age and they truly, deeply start considering, what am I going to do for a career? Again, not everyone has the head to get into their career at a young age. Another thing which will occur is the fact that you will start to become a lot more fiscally responsible than you were before, a lot better with money, and a lot wiser with money. To a degree, again, compared to how you were before, it will increase, but everyone again is on different levels. You also realise what is truly important in your life, and you now focus solely on that, on what makes you happy and what you want to do, and your tolerance for crap or bullshit or BS as it's known decreases, okay? Your tolerance for this decreases as this all goes back to your time being precious and you now not being willing to waste it if it does not serve you or bring you satisfaction in some way. So any drama, any BS, you will just be like, no, I'll pull out of that because that's a waste of my time. I'm not getting sucked into that. Of course, some people naturally are drawn to that. That's their food, that's their energy. They love that sort of stuff, and those people will remain in some sense on that path like that, but it will decrease. The Saturn return also toughens you up a bit, okay? You learn to stand up for yourself more. You are more comfortable about saying no, okay? If something is a waste of your time, and you learn to set boundaries, okay, for yourself. You learn that hard work and effort truly does pay off, and you begin to enjoy hard work, okay, to yield and to enjoy the fruits of your labour. And lastly, you begin to embrace turning 30, okay, as a new beginning and something good and something positive, when before this point you used to dread turning 30, as again it's officially the end of your youth, and that's something basically everyone strives to hold on to, is their youth, of course. But again, after the Saturn return, you begin to accept this age, you begin to accept your youth is over, and instead of seeing it the end of something, you see it as the beginning of something. Okay folks, I think that's all for this video. I truly hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, please like, share and subscribe. And until next time, take care.